Good evening, wherever you are in the world, joining us for this special Facebook Live show to mark this year's World No Tobacco Day. This show is coming to you live courtesy of Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa, CAPA. CAPA is made up of a team of people that for the past decades have been at the forefront of advocacy for tobacco control laws in Nigeria and on the African continent. We are, however, coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria. The World Health Organization dedicated May 31st every year as World No Tobacco Day, WNTD. The theme for the 2020 celebration is protecting youth from industry manipulation and preventing them from tobacco and nicotine use. The motivation behind this year's theme is the tobacco industry's manipulation of the youth to become smokers through different strategies, including the use of youth-appealing flavors in cigarettes, attractive product designs, false claims of harm reduction, sponsoring celebrities, influencers and brand events, and indirect marketing, amongst others. The WHO believes the youth can also play lead roles in counter-marketing the tobacco industry and exposing their lies. The focus of the 2020 WNTD are unmasking myths and expose manipulation tactics of the tobacco and nicotine industries, especially those that deceive the youth, to equip youth with the foreknowledge of the tobacco and nicotine industry's intention and tactics, and also to empower the influencers to protect the youth and fight against the big tobacco. In this special edition of the Facebook Live chat, we have two guests. One is a medical doctor. We're supposed to have had Dr. Ann Okoma, but unfortunately she's indisposed. So we have with us Dr. Ime Okon of the Nigeria Medical Association, Lagos, who will be discussing how tobacco impacts in the youth, and a youth tobacco control advocate. His name is Ferdinand Okugini. Reflex Sound he's called. He's a singer, a rapper, a music producer who has been educating fellow youths about the harms of tobacco use. I am Goma Koki, Deputy Director, Training the Voice of Nigeria, the official broadcaster for Nigeria. Before we meet our guests, we need to go to the streets and see what people on the streets say.
Do you know or have you heard about World No Tobacco Day?
No, I've not.
No Tobacco Day. Do you know about it? Have you heard about it?
No. I will not say what I don't know. I don't know much about that.
Do you know about World No Tobacco Day?
No, I've not heard of it before.
So you don't know anything about it?
If it's about World No Tobacco, then it should be about we not taking tobacco. So, and if it's about the day, then it should be the day we celebrate the No Tobacco Day. So it's something worth celebrating. So World No Tobacco Day should be celebrated in the country.
So do you know or have you heard about World No Tobacco Day?
No, I've not.
Do you know about World No Tobacco Day?
No,
Have you heard about it before?
I haven't.
Do you know about World No Tobacco Day?
I've heard about it before.
Okay.
So the thing is that it's even in the advert that tobacco smoking is dangerous to health. To me, I do advise people not to smoke, because since the advert has said it's dangerous to health, so anything that they told you that it can harm you, there is no need of you using it, because it harms.
Do you know about World No Tobacco Day?
Not really. This is my first time of hearing it. So I would have loved if you do more of awareness of it, because I'm just hearing it for the first time.
Do you know about World No Tobacco Day?
I don't really know about it.
Have you heard about it before?
This is my first time hearing about it.
Do you know about World No Tobacco Day? What?
World No Tobacco Day.
No.
Cigar?
Do you know about that day?
No.
Do you know or have you heard about World No Tobacco Day?
No, I've not.
No Tobacco Day. Do you know about it? Have you heard about it?
No. I will not say what I don't know. I don't know much about that.
Do you know about World No Tobacco Day?
No, I've not heard of it before.
So you don't know anything about it?
If it's about World No Tobacco, then it should be about we not taking tobacco. So, and if it's about the day, then it should be the day we celebrate the No Tobacco Day. So it's something worth celebrating. So World No Tobacco Day should be celebrated in the country.
So do you know or have you heard about World No Tobacco Day?
No, I've not.
Do you know about World No Tobacco Day?
No,
Have you heard about it before?
I haven't.
Do you know about World No Tobacco Day?
I've heard about it before.
Okay.
So the thing is that it's even in the advert that tobacco smoking is dangerous to health. To me, I do advise people not to smoke, because since the advert has said it's dangerous to health, so anything that they told you that it can harm you, there is no need of you using it, because it harms.
Do you know about World No Tobacco Day?
Not really. This is my first time of hearing it. So I would have loved if you do more of awareness of it, because I'm just hearing it for the first time.
Do you know about World No Tobacco Day?
I don't really know about it.
Have you heard about it before?
This is my first time hearing about it.
Do you know about World No Tobacco Day? What?
World No Tobacco Day.
No.
Cigar?
Do you know about that day?
No.
what you just saw was Vox Pop about whether or not people know what the World No Tobacco is all about. And like I said before, our first guest is Dr. Ime Okon. Dr. Ime, you just saw those people talking about World No Tobacco Day, and I'd like to know from you, do you think enough awareness has been created on the day?
Well, like what we just saw now, many people are not aware. The awareness is quite low, and we need to do a whole lot more. It's important to create awareness about the day, but we'll not forget that the major thing is create awareness about no tobacco and the dangers that tobacco is causing, especially towards our health. The day is important, quite alright, but let's not forget the substance of the message. But generally speaking, the awareness on World No Tobacco Day is quite low.
You're a doctor, and we're looking at the theme for the day, which is protecting youth from industry manipulation and preventing them from tobacco and nicotine use. How serious would you say tobacco use is amongst youth?
Globally, it is said that like 1 in 5 of our youths are involved in tobacco smoking, either through the e-nicotine or the shisha or the non-smoking, the other one that they like chewing of tobacco and all those other ones. So at least 1 in 5. So that is quite a high number. And thinking of the effects of tobacco, which is quite addictive, and most of the adults that we have that are into tobacco, many of them actually started this as youths. It's something that is worth considering, especially thinking of the health effects. You know, most of the diseases that we talk about and we call silent killers are usually having one link or the other to tobacco, and most of them cause a lot of premature death. So if something is preventable, why don't we invest a lot in creating much more awareness and let us reduce the frequency of its use amongst our youth especially?
So can you just tell us some of these smoking-induced diseases? Because we need to know.
Okay, so the you call it smoking-induced diseases. I want to say tobacco-associated illnesses. So it's a case of like when you get involved in tobacco consumption, these are the things that are likely to happen to you. It may not be immediate, it may be long term, but it would have been avoided if we prevented the tobacco use. We call them non-communicable diseases most times. You have things like hypertension. It's not as if it's a short-term thing that immediately you start smoking you will have the high blood pressure, but it's a cumulative thing that happens later on in life, like hypertension. We talk about cancers, chronic obstructive pulmonary illnesses, and of course we're going to still talk about COVID now that WHO has mentioned that if you're smoking at this time of COVID-19, a respiratory illness, it makes the chances of survival a lot reduced, because everything is going to the lung. Tobacco is dangerous to the lungs, COVID is affecting the lung, so putting the two effects together is like double jeopardy.
So looking at the sexes, male, female, which of them do you think smoking affects more?
Studies have shown very clearly that more males are affected than females when it comes to the deleterious effects of tobacco smoking.
So the tobacco industry has been promoting e-tobacco as a safe alternative to cigarettes. As a doctor, are they really safer?
They are not. The e-tobacco, it's like trending, and you know our youth, everybody wants to get involved in what is going on, what is the latest. It is the latest, but it's actually not safe. It is not safe at all, and it delivers more nicotine than the regular tobacco that we know, the cigarette smoking that we know, and it's even more addictive, and that is more dangerous. It's more addictive. So it's presented as if it's an intermediary between switching off smoking. You know, when you have somebody that is addicted to smoking and you say, okay, I'm offering you this alternative so that you can wean yourself off smoking, that is actually a bit deceptive, because that's not what it actually does. It's actually more addictive and it delivers more nicotine, which is the dangerous substance that we're running away from.
Talking about deception, there's this thing that they said there's a cleaner smoking, or it's cleaner tobacco smoking kind of thing. And I want to ask, from science, would you say any tobacco is cleaner, especially knowing that you have toilet cleaners in tobacco, you have rats, poison, things used to kill rat, things used to kill ants, and can there be any tobacco that is really clean?
According to studies, like I always want to refer, because a lot has been done studying this tobacco, nobody has really come out to say this is a good thing that's come out of tobacco. Interestingly, I was watching something on fibroids yesterday on I think it was AIT, and Dr. Ajayi and Dr. Shanu, they were talking about fibroids, and they said something. They said, for once, I see something a little bit good about tobacco. That when you mention fibroid and you talk about tobacco, it's as if tobacco is a little protective. But that would not make me say that go and take tobacco so that you prevent yourself from fibroid. I think that's the first time ever I'm hearing anything good or a little about tobacco. Otherwise, most illnesses, most diseases, you always have a negative effect of tobacco on them. There is nothing clean about it, so we should not be deceived by the new technology or the newer trend.
Does that include the hookah and the shisha?
The shisha thing is the same thing. It's addictive, and what makes it worse, the shisha thing is like a community thing, it's like a group thing. And if you know, these youths, they like doing things in groups. You know, you take it, then you give the next person to you and all that, and that is what they enjoy doing a lot. So it's a bit difficult to even get them disentangled. If one person is smoking, you can discourage one person from, but when they do it in groups, as you're trying to remove one person, then you have to really go to the community where they are taking decision and try, and that is a whole lot more work to be done. But these children enjoy this thing. The youth, they enjoy that community smoking that you find in shisha.
And then let's look at some of the flavors that are added to the tobacco. Some people will say the flavor will tone down whatever dangerous substances you have. Is that correct? As a doctor of science, does science say that the flavor can bring down the dangers?
No, the flavor doesn't bring down anything. It actually encourages you to take more. It's like when you take limca or all those things that, okay, there's a lot of quinine, there's quinine there, so they put in a lot of sugar to tone it down. So at the end of the day, what you're taking in is actually more. So those flavor actually encourages them to take a whole lot more than you would otherwise have taken. It's not
just good. Reminds me of somebody who wants to take a Coke or a Pepsi, for instance, and the person says, I want to reduce sugar, and then adds a whole 75 cl water, and thinks the sugar has been reduced.
Taking more liquid.
More liquid and still the same quantity of sugar. So exactly. It doesn't matter what other flavors are added. No. It's still the same nicotine and all the chemicals and substances.
Exactly, and the bad thing about it is the flavor like enhances, it makes them to take even more than what they would have ordinarily taken.
So you talked a bit about COVID, and WHO is talking about respiratory. We're looking at respiratory illnesses, and we're looking at cigarettes affecting your lungs and all of that. But some people have said that since they say COVID doesn't like heat, and smoking, it's heat you're adding to your system, is more likely going to help you fight COVID.
I can tell you categorically that the heat that is produced by the smoke, I think it's getting to maybe your neck, it would have gotten cold. So you can't say that heat is going to do anything. So the same effect that the tobacco has on the lungs, it damages a whole lot of things in the lungs. So you can imagine if smoking has already started damaging the lungs, then the person now gets infected with COVID. That's like unholy matrimony, and the effects would definitely be worse off. if you compare with somebody that is not smoking. They're not supposed to cross paths at all, so it's totally discouraged. It's not the best.
So as a doctor, what will be your advice to the youths?
Run away from tobacco smoking. I see a lot of adverts that the youths like celebrities, they like all these dance, latest thing in town. So you now see adverts for tobacco coming in those forms, and they get so attracted, they get carried away by it, and they do not even listen to that small snack that they put at the end of it, that tobacco smokers are likely to die young. They've been carried away by the jamboree of the music and the celebrities. Oh, that's my person, that's my favorite star and all that. So I would like to say, please, tobacco is something that can prevent that. Once you prevent it, a whole lot of illnesses will be kept at bay. So if you run away from tobacco, you've run away from so many diseases, and we know that health is wealth. COVID has shown us a whole lot. Everybody at this period of COVID, we were advised to stay at home. We're looking at money, but everybody's like, money can't be so important, I have to be healthy. So if you want to be healthy, and most illnesses can be prevented by avoiding tobacco smoke, why go for it? So please, I would advise the youth to please stay away from smoking, and especially since we know that it's addictive, and if you start at an early age, you're just going to carry on like that into adulthood, and these diseases that we're talking about that could be earlier on prevented show up at that age. So you start from an early age to kind of try to mold the kind of adult that you're going to be. So if you want to be a healthy adult, it's good for you to avoid tobacco so that you can have a healthy life, live long without diseases.
So what for me it means is what you're saying, long and short as far as I'm concerned, let me use the language of the local palace: borrow yourself sense. Exactly. Because if the people who are producing are telling you, even though they hide the thing there, that even when they are doing the advert on TV, they tell you smokers are liable to die young. It means they know. So for some of us youths that think we're very smart, I would go local balance, borrow yourself sense.
Yes, so borrow yourself brain.
Borrow yourself brain. If you don't have, in fact, go and buy, because what you're doing is using your money to buy death for yourself. We will come back to this topic, but I'll go to what she said about influencers, celebrities. How does that concern us? What's the link with all this tobacco thing? We will know, but first we would like to see what happened sometime in December 2019. Thank you, Dr. Ime. Thank you.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let's bring up the next person, Reflex.
Hey, there's a misconception that most artists are always smoking. I don't really believe that, because I don't smoke. I'm fresh now. I'm too fresh. I'm not smoking. Okay, listen. I wanted us to get the lyrics first, so somebody said, I said, "You believe in my own." I was the guy with the believe song, so it goes like this. Hey, I beg of sit. I beg for the children. When they smoking the cigarette, then they listen to evidence. Say they smoke, but not negligent. Tobacco plenty for market. Information there for the market. They say you go fit to the pocket. All must still fight to the pocket. Dangerous to the smoker and the smoking. It the cause cancer for the body. Or the matter not be lucky. And they talk my mind belong me. You need to control. See, that's supposed to get the control. I say, oh, you follow me campaign. Stop to the retail. Make our children not inhale. Tobacco is spoiling their brain. Addiction. It will kill next generation. Addiction. Make me take cash on low. Let's go. Information
Welcome back from listening to what happened in December. Our next guest is Okuni Efemena Ferdinand. And like I said before, he's popularly called Reflex Sounds. He's a Nigerian singer, he's a rapper, he's a music producer, and winner of the National Tobacco Rap Challenge, which ended in December. That is what we just saw. The grand clips from the grand finale of that challenge. Ferdinand, you won that inaugural edition.
Yeah.
I'd like to say congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
You were not the only one. There were other competitors, but somehow your song beat theirs. Would you like to tell us what you think you did better than the others?
I think with music it has a lot to do with creativity. So I think the advantage I had probably most likely was the fact that I was able to creatively put the message against the use of tobacco in a more musical and comic way with all the rhymes and stuff. So I think that made it look sound really good and gave it like an extra advantage over others.
Okay, and you talked briefly about the award ceremony in that place we just watched. But for our followers, could you tell us some of the situations that youths are exposed to, especially with regards to the entertainment industry?
Yeah, the entertainment industry is, you know, I believe the use of drugs generally behind the entertainment, what we see outside is prevalent. It's a lot. They use drugs, drinks, and but particularly the use of tobacco. If we have to be specific, the thing is that it's really casual, and the fact that it's dangerous, it's why I've never used. And I always discourage most of my clients that I get to produce, or my friends I get to work with, even if I can't change them completely, but I try to make them understand that it's bad for your health. So I'm talking to them and watching how I do not believe that having tobacco enhances your creativity in any way. Some of them probably believe that drugs and the use of false drugs enhances their mood and their creativity. I feel that's what a lot of them believe. I am in the creative industry, and I know that that's not what happens.
So you've never used tobacco?
No.
So what was your motivation for the no tobacco song?
The fact that other people felt that they need it to feel cool. They need it to look like they are popping. Like, oh, if you're not smoking tobacco, then you're not that what's up guy that you're not poppy. So I've been that kind of person. I wanted to prove someone otherwise, so I have to prove that with my music.
Okay, so would you say you're a young man? There's no reason why you shouldn't do tobacco. So would you say you've been under any kind of pressure to smoke at all?
Yeah, I mean, I've been, when you are, in particular in the cement industry, or a lot of people use it, a lot of users are around, so you turn left, turn right, you know, and what I do is, because I also know that not just the person smoking, the person inhaling too is also affected, so I avoid being in such an environment for a very long time. I do what I need to do if I have to do a performance. In fact, whenever I have clients that come, recording artists in my studio, I just tell them, see, you need to, if you really need to smoke before I get to work for you, you can do that outside, not in my studio. A lot of my friends can testify to that. I never had anybody smoking in my studio. So yeah, the pressure has been there, but I never just succumbed to it because my passion was just my music.
I think I'd like to take a bit of break about something you said, that you know that it has effect not just for the person smoking, but for the person who is inhaling the smoke. Yeah. And that's what WHO and campaigners would call secondhand smoking.
Yes.
And a lot of us don't know that secondhand smoke is really bad. In fact, you're worse off than the man really smoking. So if you don't smoke, stay away from people who use tobacco, because you are worse off.
True.
So like Ferdinand has done, I think your best bet will be stay away. And that's what you have in some you developed countries. They have a place for smoking, and then they have a place for no smoking. That's why I'm really baffled that even though we've had this legislation for no smoking in public, the legislation is just there, there's no implementation. Yeah. So I needed us to take that break so that people will understand why you are insistent that people should leave your studio if they have to smoke.
Yeah.
So where are you going, how far are you going to take your campaign and your song?
You know, with the recent information reaching us now on how a lot of youths are being influenced through advertising and the fact that smoking makes you look cool, you have to counter that notion by probably talking about it more often. So my music generally has always been the inspirational type or motivational type. It's the type of music I make. It's easy to infuse information like that, and I think it's fair to say that I'm pretty good at you know, squeezing in those informations in a musical way. So I do that all the time, and in future songs I will keep doing that. I want to be that example of people, you know, that creative personality out there that you can point at Reflex. He doesn't smoke, he doesn't you know, engage in drugs, and he's fine, he's good to go. His music is still good, everybody loves his music, and so I want to be an example.
So what would be your advice for youths who will be tempted into going to smoking? They've not started. What would be your advice to them? And the ones who are already taking tobacco, what would be your advice for them?
I would advise them to stop. You see, the internet is filled up with so many there's information out there in the internet, a lot of information out there in the internet. I think they should avail themselves to the harm it can cause. There's an easy that we can share a lot of information on social media. In fact, there's this picture of the show about the lungs of someone who smokes and someone who doesn't smoke. It's really, you know, once you look at it, that should be a no-no for you. So my advice to them is to quit and never think that it makes them look cool. It's actually really bad for the health, and it's right there. I said it in the song. I said there's an information on the bucket that you're going to kick the bucket, but everybody keeps buying and filling their pockets with tobacco, so they have to stop. The information is there, you know.
I would have loved to bring that. I usually love it, the smoker's body, because a lot of people don't understand what happens to their body when they are into tobacco. But because for a lot of people it's offensive. So I would advise, like Reflex Sound says, go Google it. The smoker's body, you'll see how terrible your system can turn out if you keep smoking.
Yeah.
Reflex Sound, you'll do us one favor.
Okay.
We need a performance.
Oh, really?
Of that song again, so that people who are watching across the country and the world will listen to it.
Okay, that's good. I can do that.
Great. So.
Okay.
Yo, oh, I the bego.
yeah. I dey beg for the children, where they smoking cigarettes. Them think na evidence, say them dey work but na negligence. Tobacco plenty for market, information dey for the packet. Them say you go fit kill the bucket, all my still by full the pocket. Dangerous to the smoker and the smoky, they cause cancer for the body. The matter no be low key. I dey talk my mind, you know me, yeah. We need to control, enforce the tobacco control. I say we need to control. Cigars supposed get the control. I say campaign, stop to the retail. Make our children know inhale. Tobacco is money their brain. Addiction, it dey kill next generation. Addiction, make we take action, oh hey.
Thank you so much, Reflex Sounds. I enjoyed that. I just wish it could go on.
Yeah.
It's really, really interesting. And there are things I've picked out. Don't smoke. Don't stay by someone who smokes.
True.
Let's enforce the legislation. We have some legislation signed by our lawmakers. We need to enforce them.
True.
Otherwise, we will be back to square one.
True.
So this is where we will wrap it. Please go get this song if you don't have it, because I'm going to enjoy myself after this show. And don't forget that this special show has been brought to you courtesy of Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa, CAPA. I'm sure they will do things like this again and again. So we would want you to always watch out for this space. I am Ugoma Koki, Deputy Director Training of Voice of Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We'll meet some other time. Bye.
Huh?